Utah, give me 2.
2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Deary and Govier Plateau Podcast. Woohoo! It's Friday. It's Friday afternoon. Happy Canada Day to those that observe. We got the Blue Jays and the Rays playing right now in honor of Canada Day. A special 3:07 Eastern Time start. Ooh. So that's going on. We actually have 2 games of progress on this Friday because we got the Cubs doing their classic Friday afternoon game, taking on the Red Sox. 2 storied franchises, Deary. The Red Sox and the Cubs going head-to-head. But if you're listening to this after the fact, you don't care. The game's already over. There's 162 games in a season, so it's like, who gives a shit right now about this? But we're live on the air, so it gives us something else to talk about.
I love afternoon baseball. I miss growing up watching WGN with the Cubbies. Afternoon games all the time.
WGN.
Don't get that anymore.
I don't know. I guess that was cool, you know. Leon Durham. We were talking about Leon Durham in the Discord the other day. Cecil Cooper and Leon Durham came up. 2 first basemen of the 80s who are never mentioned, but were really actually all-stars for a couple seasons in the 80s. They were legit. They shared a card that I used to have. It was like the 2 best first basemen of 1984 or something. Leon Durham and Cecil Cooper. What's up, Smalls?
Cecil Cooper had some good years there with the Brewers.
God damn it. Are you serious? Jaron Duran hit a home run already. Well, I'm only bitter about it because I picked him up in that main event, and then he only played 2 games and got sent back down, and then I dropped him, and then he gets called back up the next week, and he was playing every day and playing well with stealing multiple bases, which I needed. And there I was thinking, well, this guy keeps coming and going. I can't trust it. But now he's like permanently with the team. Something's changed, and I'm not really sure what it is. Enrique Hernandez, is he still on the IL right now? Because I know Christian Arroyo came back and he's been playing. And then he got restricted because he couldn't play in Toronto. So then it was another reason to be like, well, I don't want Duran on my team. He's not going to play in the series because he's not vaccinated. But as soon as he comes back, he hits home runs. He hits leadoff all the time, Deary. It's very, very clear to me that they liked Duran, but they played such weird games with him that it fucked me all up. It did. It screwed me up. I didn't know what to make of him.
The Red Sox are becoming this organization that you're just like confused about some of the moves that they're making. We've talked about it a bunch with their bullpen this year. And now they're doing it with Duran. Like, yeah, every time he plays and he starts in center field and leads off. I mean, he's batting .327 right now. Just play this guy every day and really see what you got. I mean, 57 plate appearances, but this up and down and sitting and just play the guy. I don't know what's going on in Boston.
Well, I think it's clear now that he will stick with the team. And as I say those words out loud, I feel trepidatious and nervous about it because things change so quickly. I know they do change quickly. It's scary, but yeah, he's the leadoff guy. And even with Christian Arroyo back, when Enrique Hernandez comes back, that'll be the question. Will he stay in the lineup? Because they don't want him as a bench guy. He'd have to go back down. That I'm very confident in. But I'm not sure when Hernandez is coming back. I thought he was getting close. We'll have to double check on that type of information. But that's what we do here. We kind of speculate on things. There's some things we know right off the top of our head. So there's other things we don't know. It's Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Please follow us on Twitter. That's the handle where you go to directly, and you'll find a pinned tweet that talks about Cecil Cooper. No, this is the official Cecil Cooper podcast now, as Jared says. What's up, Jared? Jared's one of our Michigan locals, and he's always in the Discord doing his thing. Love you, Jared. You're a good man. I love all you guys. Smalls, Just Bob, all the regulars. Jamie, we had a good time yesterday. I talked to Chris Towers, did a one-on-one. If you want to do that, go check out what he had to say about a few things. A lot of it was just like random bozo talk about nothingness, but I still thought it was interesting. And Deary, you're going to be on the wire coming up here. Have you recorded that episode yet?
No, tomorrow night at 9:00. I'm going to be on with Adam and Kevin. Thank you for the invite, and I'm super excited to join you guys tomorrow night. We're going to talk some fab.
Yeah, hey, that's what they do, right? That's their thing, on the wire. Get it? It's not a clever name. It's just a straightforward, hey, we talk about the waiver wire, picking up players, fab money bids, etc. So make sure you follow Chris on Twitter, cdeary1999. That's in Deary as a dearly beloved. I'm at MJ Govier, G-O-V as in Victor, I-E-R. And like I said, the Discord is free. You can find that in the pinned tweet at the top of the Palazzo Podcast Twitter handle. And if you want to take an extra mile, you can go to the Patreon. It starts for as little as $3. And today's show is going to be about where we are now. We have 3 months to go here, Deary. It's July 1st, 2022. We're going to talk about some players that we think are going to do some things in July, and really just about the state of your teams and what you're going to do today and how you're going to handle doing those things as July 1st is the official countdown here. 3 months ago, Deary, is there a team where you're done with completely, or are all your teams still in the hunt?
Most of my teams are still in the hunt. I mean, besides my TGFBI team, which is just riddled with injuries, and that's in 15th place. And I will make my bids and I'll set my lineups. That's about it. Every one of my teams are in the hunt still. Glar from doing well, still the top there. You're right on my heels though, as I last checked last night. But some of my head-to-head leagues, I'm kind of fighting between 5th and like 7th place. We might talk a little head-to-head today too. Head-to-head has been frustrating for me this year because I've just run into buzzsaws every week. And what I like to do about every month and a half is just kind of look at where I would be at if it was a roto league. And I tend to be, if it was a roto league, a little closer towards the top of the standings. But that's kind of the fun of head-to-head. You can have a shitty week and, maybe take 9 or 10 categories. So that's the fun of head-to-head. But certainly not done yet. I'm grinding here as we go through July, and hopefully we'll get to talk about some players later today that we're excited about who could possibly break out this July.
Oh, Nelly. Yep, it's going to be a doozy for sure. Our latest Patreon post I did last night, it's called June Swoon equals, what did I call it? June Swoon equals something soon.
July Poon.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes, that's exactly what it was. June Swoon equals July. No, Hot Soon. That's what it was. It wasn't July. I tried to make it July something, like July to the moon, but the graphic just didn't look very good next to the other side. June Swoon didn't match up with July to the moon. It just had a symmetry that wasn't there. So I ended up going with Hot Soon. It's, I'm always scratching and clawing for the lamest way to make a title more interesting, and that's what it is. June Swoon equals Hot Soon, and there is a whole bunch of names. Because to me, Deary, and we'll talk about some of these guys later on, but when a guy struggles 1 month, there's more of a likelihood that the following month will at least be better. I mean, a streak could go forever. It's true. I mean, slumps could be brutal, but 2-month slumps, those are pretty intense and not as common. So I'm looking at guys that have struggled in June that probably will turn it around and maybe are already showing signs and reasons for that. Maybe they had lower FIPs than their ERAs by maybe 2 runs. Maybe there was other things about their profile, but that's basically what it's about. If you like that kind of stuff, it starts on the Patreon for $3. But that's kind of how I looked at it. Like, these guys suck now, they can't suck forever.
Yeah, of course. And there's certainly circumstances of why these things happen. You talked about just, some unluckiness or guys that could be coming back from injury and maybe have started to heat up in the last couple of months. Obviously, the ball changed at some point last month as we saw the home run numbers go up. So as I was looking at this, and we'll talk about it a little later, as I was kind of looking at guys that were trending over the last couple of weeks, and also a little bit of history of what's been going on, and also some of those outlining numbers that just don't seem to add up. So I see July as a huge month for fantasy baseball. It's probably the most important month if you're really going to, make some ground in some of your leagues, or if it's time to maybe sell the farm in some of your dynasty teams and build for the future. So there's a lot of things that could go right or wrong over the next 2 weeks for me, and that will dictate how I'm going to handle some of my trades as we get closer to the deadline.
Are you through, Mr. Wizard?
I completely agree. Star Platinum says, if your ERA and WHIP were near the bottom as of today, would you try to save it or go with as many double starts as you can to try to load up on wins and Ks? Well, this is a classic phenomenon in Roto. You're trying to make up ground. Your ERA and WHIP are just trash on July 1st. Double starts, 2-steppers, 2-start pitchers the rest of the way. Deary, what say you?
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, it's interesting. You got to look at your matchups and who these guys are pitching against. But I mean, if you can make a big climb in 2 categories and you're already shit the bed in those other 2 categories, it's going to be difficult to come back with ERA and WHIP. Wins and Ks are certainly things that you can, try to stockpile, but wins are not guaranteed. We know how it goes. It's difficult for guys to pitch into the 7th inning. A lot more middle relief and closers are getting wins now. So it's not like you can just pick up, 3 pitchers are going to get 2-start weeks coming up, and you're not guaranteed 3 or 4 wins. I mean, there's a reason these guys are probably available. And like I said, wins are hard to get.
Wins are hard to come by. I know, shocking breaking news here. Look, if those two areas, your ratio cats, are screwed up, you got to start looking at it through a mathematical formula. How much time do you have left? What kind of ground can you gain? Can you gain 6 points in the standings by going from a 3.80 ERA to a 3.60 or a 3.55? That'd be a big push. And what would it take to get there? You got to start getting the calculator out and break it all down. Make a final decision for yourself. In the end, it's up to you to make those choices. We got big news from Just Bob, who's always breaking news on the Palazzo podcast here. Ronald Acuna will play today. He's back in the lineup after sitting out all week. Possible foot fracture. Nope, it was all good. He's not Ozzy Albies. He's not going to be out for 2 months. So there he is, back in the lineup. And I thought, in the bi-weekly leagues where you can switch hitters in NFBC leagues, you can set it on Monday and you can set it again on Friday. This is great news. So make sure you get Acuna back in for the weekend. Me and Eric Cross, shout out to Eric, my man. We have Acuna in our tag team league, which we are still in first place by 20 points. We are dominating that league right now. And I feel really good about that, but can never get complacent because last year we were winning all season long and then we lost it in the last month. So I am not. I'm learning from that lesson. Yeah, I'm learning from that lesson. I'm always looking for the edge here, and I'm always pushing Eric like, hey, we got to make sure we do this. Well, I want this guy. We got to stay up on these standings in this category. It's important. And with Ronald Acuna being such a boost to us in steals, between him and John Bertie, who, by the way, did you check up? Yeah, so what'd you think of my new song, Deary?
I couldn't stop singing it yesterday. I couldn't stop. I'm like mumbling it around at work, and people are like, "What are you mumbling? What are you singing?" I'm like, I can't even explain it to you. It's something to do with my podcast partner.
Yeah, that was I was doing a few lines too. It was catchy to me. Total shout out to Chris Olson, by the way. Please follow him on Twitter at KO_reporter. KO_reporter. He works at Baseball HQ. And when I put out the word last Sunday, I said, hey, who should I do a song about? Name me a player. And he came up with that concept, John Bertie and the Hurdy-Gurdy Man by Donovan. And I'm like, oh my God, that is a great call. So total credit to him for the concept. I put all the pieces together. So he's the Bernie Taupin, I guess, and I'm the Elton John. I don't know. Something like that. So
well, that was cool. It's funny. Like if you would have told me at the start of the season you'd be doing a song about John Bertie, I'd be like, man, why are we just doing a random guy that maybe can give you some steals? But holy shit, this guy's been on fire. And if you have him in any of your roto leagues, you have probably climbed the standings because of the amount of steals he's been getting. We talked about him last week, and it's great that you ended up doing a song about somebody who's super fantasy relevant right now.
I put it in the video. You could watch the video right here on the Palazzo Podcast YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel. We're up to 317 subs. We appreciate any more subs. We really would like to bust out here. Let's take it up a notch. Share it with your friends. If for some reason you listen to the show and you're not subscribed to the YouTube, just take a moment to subscribe. It doesn't take much. You click a button and it's done, and it makes our day. So I put the video up there. It goes along with the song, and I showed our standings when we barely had John Bertie and then after John Bertie. And we went from, we were dead second to last in steals, and now we're sixth. So just because of that guy. I really believe the John Bertie run here in June might end up securing us the title this time, because it's such a huge advantage where we were so weak in that category, me and Eric, in our tag team league, that it's, a lot of people play in that tag team league. Zach Waxman, Mike Curlin have a team. John Fish has a team with somebody. I never know who his partner is. I'm a little dubious of that, John, but I'll take your word for it. And Baseball Pods, he runs a team with his partner. So there's a bunch of people who know what they're doing. It's run by Maddie Davis, Maddie Wood at FTN Fantasy. Shout out to Maddie. And I really think John Bertie, if we stick to what we're doing, might be the difference maker. We'll look back and be like, that was a guy who secured us a title. So I hope that ends up being the case. Having said that, Bubba is here. Hello, Bubba. What's up, man? He says Paredes. Isaac Paredes. Real or an imposter? His home run pace is unsustainable, but what can we expect?
Well, if you're a Tiger fan, you can just expect being fucking pissed because we gave him up for Austin Meadows, who is back on the DL. And shit, man, Paredes has got 11 home runs. If he was on the Tigers, he'd be leading the team.
You're a lousy fucking softball player.
Austin Meadows, if you were a baseball player, sub softball for baseball. he's got vertigo, dude. I'm telling you, I know he's on the IL now for Achilles stuff, but I'm telling you, this vertigo thing it didn't just go away. And I know that teams protect shit and players like to hide shit too. So who knows what's going on here? I find it very, very bizarre that he was out for a while with the vertigo, comes back, barely plays, still has 0 home runs for the season. I'm not buying the Achilles thing just yet. I'm very, very cautiously worried about that situation.
Yeah, I agree. I've known a couple people that have had vertigo, and it's not like, hey, I'm back in a week. Like, this could be a long-lasting thing. I'd like to know, Chris Ilitch came out and talked today. I would love to know.
Oh, he did? You say anything relevant?
Oh, my God.
Go Tigers.
I would like to know if Chris Ilitch even knows who Austin Meadows is. Yes, Chris Ilitch came out and talked today. It's fucking deplorable. This guy is the owner of this team.
What did he say? Did he say anything?
He says he's encouraged by the progress of the Tigers. He said it was off to a slow start, but he feels encouraged lately. And he likes the progress of the young players. What fucking progress from young players?
Shut up,
Spencer Torkelson is the worst rookie in the league. This guy has no clue what's going on. And,
no.
Team that with Al Avila as being your GM, like, I got one foot out the door with this team right now. I'm ready to jump ship. This is awful.
I know you are. I've never seen you so depressed about the Tigers. All our years we've known each other. We've known each other a long time, and you were really, really coming down hard on them, as you should. They have not been. This is them. That's the audio version of the Tigers right now. It's Gilbert Gottfried. Rest in power, Gilbert Gottfried. So
Go Tigers.
Bubba says, do you think Tampa Bay dealt broken goods? I really do think it's possible. Everyone has this. It's status quo now. Trade with Tampa Bay, you're going to get burned. Everybody seems to know it, and it's a common theme on Twitter and Major League Baseball and fantasy circles. I don't think every trade Tampa's made has been legendary. I think I could dig up a few words at least like it's fairly equal. But in the end, this one will probably go down pretty badly. I think Isaac Paredes has a good bat. It's obviously not a sustainable pace. The home runs will slow down. The question is, can he provide you other things? Can he get on base? And if you look in the profile, I wrote about this on the Fantasy Baseball Confidential for Fantrax HQ. You can read that every Monday at fantraxhq.com. I read a big-ass article about all kinds of stuff, and I did a focus on Paredes, and he had incredible walk rates in the minor leagues, like stupid walk rates before he came up. So if he could continue to get on base when the home runs go away and still score runs and drive in runs, there's not going to be steals. That's not part of his profile, Deary, but I think that Paredes is a guy that you should absolutely take some opportunities to acquire. And if you're rebuilding Dynasty and you want to bring him into the fold, I think that's a wise idea too. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon here saying, oh, this is it. This is the guy. But there's enough talent there, and there always was a pedigree there, that it certainly doesn't seem like a total fluke. Unsustainable pace of home runs, but a guy who has a really solid profile as an offensive weapon.
Yeah, he showed in the minor leagues that he could bat, 275, 280 with, a little bit of power. But like you said, his walk rate, his career in the minors was upwards to double digits, and he doesn't strike out a ton. His first, dip into the majors in 2020, his K percentage was pretty high, and it wasn't very good the next year. But once he came up to AAA and was even with the Tigers last year, he didn't strike out a lot at all. He hit a lot of ground balls. But I think what's really surprising is these power numbers that he's showing right now: 11 home runs and 118 plate appearances. Is that sustainable? Is he a guy who's going to hit 35, 40 home runs? No, but it's clear that this guy has 20 to 25 home run power ability, and he's still only 23 years old. So it's like, Jesus, Al, you got fleeced again.
Poor Al. And Jared says, Chris Ilitch praised Al Avila's performance for the Marlins over 20 years ago. Hey, all right. Way to go back in time, Chris. You're really digging deep on that praise. Al made one good move in 2004. It was incredible. I mean, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was amazing. It was an amazing move. Just take my word for it. Trust me. I've never screwed over anybody in my life. My name's Chris Ilitch, and I love the city of Detroit.
Go Tigers.
I wonder what it's like for Al Avila's kid, Alex, who, we've seen him on MLB Network. We've seen him in the booth for Tigers games, and he's also been on the radio a ton in Detroit. It's like, man, you're the son of like villain number one in Detroit right now. And there's no way he doesn't hear the, smattering of just deplorable shit that people are saying, which is warranted because he's been a disaster. This is a 6-7 year rebuild, and they're taking steps back. Like, I'm so upset with this team and their performance under management.
Yeah, maybe you would be surprised, maybe you wouldn't, how much these guys can insulate themselves and really be cut off from the world. Like, they just don't know. They're like, I'm so rich and I'm so wealthy that I'm just going to have this bubble I'll be in, and I'll be fine.
Message!
Yep, there's your message. Chad's here. Chad from Twitch. He's our official Twitch representative for the Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's on Twitter and on YouTube and everywhere. Hey, guys, I just came hoping someone would hold me and tell me Ian Anderson's issues are just from him being space jammed by Kyle Wright, and it will be better soon. I don't know what space jammed means exactly, but I do know that you might be hitting on a player that I'm going to talk about in our main segment today about guys who might turn it on in July. So stay tuned for that, Chad. That's called a teaser in the biz. Chad also says, the Rays traded away Trey Turner once upon a time. No matter what, they are kind of coming out as losers in the wrong run. See, thank you. That not every trade is.
That's exactly.
We need to. Yeah, tone it down a little bit. Let's keep it real. And Chad always does, by the way. I disagree on Paredes for what it's worth. The power isn't a great fit at Comerica, which basically just makes him Austin Meadows without the track record. First off, he's a right-handed hitter, and it's always a myth that Comerica is not good for certain hit. For right-handed hitters, you can crank bombs at Comerica. You always could. That porch, it's not a porch, but it's very attainable to hit home runs to left field. But if you're saying that he's more of a Oppo Taco type hitter going the other way, of course that would make it much more difficult. But Miguel Cabrera made a career out of being a guy who could hit the ball anywhere at Comerica.
Yeah, and I also just look at what's on the Tigers roster and in the minors when it comes to second base and third base. It's absolute shit right now. Jonathan Scope, he's here for a 1-year deal. He's batting, I believe, still under 200. Jmar Candelario, after his million doubles last year, he's been a mess. What are your replacements for these guys? We saw Cody Clemens. He couldn't do anything when he came up. Ryan Kreidler's not having the season that he had last year in the minors. And we know what Harold Castro is. He's just a left-handed bat that might be able to get on base, but he's not a full-time player. So they traded away a guy who could have been a solution.
Look who's here, but they met Kent. Woo! What's up, Kent? Welcome to the show. What the fuck are you yapping about, Gurmit? What's Gurmit? I don't know what that means, Kent, but it's good to see you, Kent. I'm so glad you're here. We always love having Kent here on the Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's. Deary, let's get into some business.
Oh, dear. Listen, I miss Belvedere.
Yeah, me too.
Streaks on the china, never
Kent, you like
met
this
it
song?
before.
Is this annoying?
Who cared when you drop kicked your jacket as you came through the door? No one glared.
Oh, man. I got to give total credit to Mr. Britton Allen himself, who really got me back in the Belvedere spirit. So thank you for reigniting my Belvedere flame, Mr. Allen. You should follow Britton Allen on Twitter and check out his show. 3 is the magic number. It's a great show. It's on the Triple Play Fantasy Podcast Network. Ken says, I heard Govier selling this show to Griffey Jr. I don't even know what that means. Is Griffey Jr. buying things?
I don't know, man. Kent's too smart for me, man.
Seriously.
Welcome to the show, but I can't pick up on anything, man. You're just way ahead of me.
What the fuck? Yeah, it must be weird to walk into a baseball show to hear Mr. Belvedere. That's weird. Deary, Big Beauty, Govier smells like ham. Well, if I smell like rum ham, I probably stink too. I probably do. Although I did shower last night because I played softball in a scorching heat. It was so goddamn hot. I had to take a shower. I don't like to shower every day. It's true. It's unnecessary. You don't have to shower every single day. But if you go out in 95-degree weather and play softball, you're going to be gross. And there's dirt in the air. The infield's made of dirt. It kind of collects in your head, and you don't notice it. If you leave a game, you'd be like, wow, I get a lot of dirt in my head. It's weird.
I don't have that problem. I ain't got no hair.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. However, you could look at it at another angle, too, and, say...
Victory lap certified.
Victory lap for Deary. That's what that is. That's a win. So, all right. Still a good kid, though. Go see Deary go. Okay, good for you. Hit for a cycle? I did not hit for the cycle last night. Me and Deary lost our playoff game, by the way, on Monday. 10-8. It was a heartbreaker. I felt that, Deary, you felt a little rushed. You were late, and it wasn't fair to you because you had to come right out there. Didn't get a chance to warm up, and we started slow. But we closed strong. We could have won that game. We lost by 2, 10-8. We had the tying runs on in the last inning.
Yeah, it was a classic get the bat started way too late, and we were just trying to chase from behind. But yes, I was 5 minutes late to the game. I got there right when we got onto the field in the bottom of the first there. And what happened? First ball to me, error. Next inning, trying to throw it over to first base. Not a terrible throw. Probably could have been made by a professional first baseman, but Darren did his best and couldn't get it.
Yeah,
and I let another one go like right between the wickets. So yeah, 3 errors. I'm good at not blaming myself for losing the game, because if
you had a big hit later,
we probably could have won. So
you drove in some runs later. You had a big hit, so it's all. If you make a mistake, the goal is to try to even it out by coming back at the plate, and that's the game.
That team
play well on the
sucked,
field.
though. That team was not good. That's what pissed me off.
Yeah, well, they got off to a hot start.
Yeah, they were just placing everything like right over the second base bag. It was landing like right at the
That's the
frame.
game.
I know. We played a rover, and we actually got a couple force outs at second. Like he was moving in, but
yeah, he helped.
They're playing smart.
They did. Yeah, full credit to them. They won, and that's how it goes. You got to accept it, move on with your lives. Bob says he's a golfer. Oh, he's just like you, Deary, by the way. You and Just Bob should go golfing sometime. Deary went golfing this morning
I sure
at
did.
good old Bushwood.
I sure did, yeah. Brookside, lovely Brookside over in Saline. We call Bushwood because it's just a dumper. It's just a dumper course. I shot a 40 on the front.
Oh, that's good. Nice job.
Yeah,
right.
I had 7 pars. 7 pars, a bogey, and a triple.
Wow. That's weird. 7 pars. That's very, very solid. Just Bob says you need to wash your balls every day in reference to the showering thing. Okay, well, I did listen to George Carlin's comedy bit from 1999 the other night, actually. And oddly enough, he said you got to wash the 4 main areas every day, and that being your butthole, your balls, your mouth, and your armpits. So there's some truth to that. You're right. And whenever Leanne shows up, I always shower. So I guess it's kind of like when she's not here.
Good news.
I don't. Yeah, it's a complicated process. Okay.
Just bathing in your filth.
Deary, passionately ripping Tigers management is therapeutic. Oh, Jared is healing from what you have to say. Thank you, Deary. Healing the masses of Detroit.
Fuck this team.
See, Deary needs to move up in the batting order. Govier needs to be GM. Well, I am the GM. I'm the manager, I guess. So, yeah. Maybe I should retire. You're right. Maybe it's time for me to hang him up. Kent, I always appreciate your words and support. It wouldn't be the same without you. Anyways, I want to thank Bill Hammock. Shout out to Bill Hammock. He's a new patron. He signed up yesterday. Welcome to the Patreon, Bill. Plus, we had 3 people sign up last Friday. That was awesome. Darren and Jasper and Sid, all 3 of you guys. And you guys have been in the Discord doing your thing. I mean, this community's really taken off. It's pretty cool. It's really, really unique, and I'm grateful for it. And for every Kent, there's 25 Darrens and Jaspers and Just Bobs and Jareds and all you guys that make things so worthwhile. It's not cheesy. I'm not being trite. I'm not bullshitting you. It's the truth. So grateful for all that. Really am. I wanted to give shout-outs also to Discord, I did that. To the Patreon, I did that. I do a fantasy AMA every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We had Darren and Jasper in there last Sunday. It's audio-based, so it's on the Discord channel. It's an exclusive channel only for the patrons, and we have an audio space like a Clubhouse or a Twitter Spaces, and we get to talk as much as we want. It's basically like a radio show that's not on the air, or like this, but there's no video. You can use video, but I just use the audio, because if I'm somewhere else, I could be doing 2 things at once, dearie. It's much easier for me. I'm doing if you enjoy keeping up on who's been left on base every day, I try to do on my feed, on the MJ Govier Twitter feed, that he left us, where I post the daily leaders in left on base. And every day there is a teammate letting another teammate down. And it's just never ending, dearie. It's a constant parade of people left on base. It's plaguing the baseball world every day.
Sounds like our softball team on Monday. I think we left the bases loaded like twice or 3 times.
We did. Yeah, I remember making a comment about that. That really sucked. For example, yesterday, Thursday night, I posted on my Twitter feed, MJ Govier on Twitter if you want to follow. And the leader for left on base was Ahmed Rosario. Ahmed Rosario left 7 on base. That's a big number. That's the biggest number I've seen this season is 9 in one game, dearie. That's the season high. I did this a couple years ago on RotoFanatic 2 during my videos when I did the quality start videos, which is something I grinded on when I first got into this game, and I realized I was grinding too hard. and it really kind of took a stressful toll on me, but I would do the LOBs for those videos, and I think I saw a 10 once. I think I did, but that would be really rare for 10 left on base by one hitter.
Jesus Christ, 10? That's a lot.
It did happen. I feel like it did happen. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that are involved in this. I mean, obviously, guys need to be on base when you come up. I mean, your offense seems to be doing something, and the pitching you're going against must not be that solid if guys are getting on base. But man, it's that clutch factor when someone gets on base. You got to be able to pull through. And I think there are some takeaways from doing it. I like seeing who's up there every day, and it's frustrating when 3 or 4 of my guys, because sometimes I don't have a chance to, be on my stat tracker or watch games all the time. And then I look, I'm like, oh man, my guy only went 1 for 4 and had 1 RBI. And then I see, oh shit, he's on the LOB team here, and this guy's on base. Shit, he could have had a huge game.
Damn! That's right. Star Platinum says, my friend got a double eagle on a 470-yard hole. What do you think of that, Deary? Is that impressive?
Jesus Christ. I'd like to know how far that drive went. I mean, 470 par 5. I mean, I don't know if I could get there in 2.
Sure you could. Couldn't you?
I'm only like 240, 250 tops off the tee.
Yeah, but okay, so if you hit a 250-yard drive, which would be a very impressive drive, right?
It'd be good for me.
You'd have to hit... You could hit an iron 220, couldn't you?
No, I can't. I can hit an iron 200 tops. I would probably be hitting
or a hybrid,
or a 3. But yeah, to sink it from there, Jesus, that's amazing.
Yeah, he must have been a big bopper.
I've eagled once with a putt, which was a whole, probably a little shorter than that. It was probably about 450, 440, and I hit like a 3 hybrid up there and put it like 3 feet. But man, a double eagle's insane.
Just Bob says, I don't judge. Don't look into what I said. Thanks, Just Bob. I know you're a good man. Hey, you can judge me all the way. Kent says, the sounds you always play are annoying as fuck. Okay, here you go. Just for you. Shout.
Utah, give me 2.
Wow, dude.
Message. Go Tigers.
Go.
There you go. Those were off. Yeah, what else we got here? I got this one.
This right here is a silver bullet, all the way from Colorado.
Coors.
That's what I wanted. Coors.
Flawless victory.
I love them all.
Victory lap certified.
The more you know. The more you know. Yeah.
Some of these I haven't heard.
You have failed.
Get trusted.
Welcome to hell.
Whatever, motherfucker.
200 dicks on the dance floor.
That is so fetch. Get on your face and point out your faults.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Genius. Go Tigers.
I think I did that one already.
Please. We talking about practice.
What are you doing, Rafi?
Oh, God, since I left you guys, I was tracking the bear most of the night. Didn't get him, but I did find a big, fresh pile of shit that I thought I'd second harvest because it was full of Hershey Kisses. Spoiler alert, they weren't Hershey Kisses. It was just more shit. I ate it all anyway, got sick to my tummy, puked, pooped, jerked off, and now I'm here with you bros. What have you guys been up to?
Bye, Felicia.
And you want me to change? Fuck you! That is bullshit! Too many cooks.
And a ground.
Too many cooks.
And a ground ball into left field for a base hit.
George Kell!
They're going to wave him in.
Beautiful.
Going to be close, and he's going to be out.
Oh.
Whoopsie daisy.
Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
I love rumors.
Good at what?
That's a huge mistake.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Fuck you, dickhead. Call 911.
Because I want to fit in.
I'm not arguing that with you.
I love rumors.
Don't be that guy.
No way.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Oh.
But they are
We couldn't
what we
do
thought they
diddly
were. And we let them off the hook.
offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We suck.
This is America, Jack.
You play to win the game.
Oh, wow. Got some old NFL coach cuts on that last board there. All right, there it is. I went through all 8 sound boards. And there's like hundreds more that are in the computer file, but there's 8 banks with
Gorgeous.
8 buttons. So there's 64 buttons I could hit simultaneously. Ooh. Thank you, Kent. That was for you. And if I derailed the show, who fucking cares? I thought so.
I laughed. I cried.
Yeah, that was fun. We've never done that before. Maybe that'll be something. Anytime someone gets pissed about sounds, I'm just going to shove it in your face. Just Bob says, update on Joey Wendell. He's now off the IL. Okay, that's great news. And for all the Chaz owners. Oh, Jazz or Chaz?
Jazz.
I think he means Jazz.
Jazz.
But Jazz is on the IL. Jazz has a back problem, so. It's good news for John Bertie. I know that. It's great news. He's not going to leave the lineup at all.
No, he's not going anywhere. They'll play him in the outfield. They'll play him at second base, third base. Fantastic.
Deary, you called it. 250-yard drive and then 220 yards on the second shot. That's amazing. So,
awesome.
All right. And then
it's even more. Yeah, I'm more impressed now because if someone hit it like 300 and then they're only like 170 in, that's a little different. But yeah, sink one from 220. That's awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's incredible. Kent, you're not laughing with this. Oh, come on, Kent, please.
It's Friday. It's 4th of July weekend, man. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Live life. Enjoy yourself, man. One day you'll be dead. This won't mean shit. This won't mean a goddamn thing. I'm telling you that right now. Cheers, boys. Be well, Chris Deary. You're beautiful. Keep this thing alive by the day. Yes. Without the Chris is the heart of the show in the end. I'm the doofus. Chris grounds us, and he's funny too. He's very underrated when it comes to his sense of humor, and I want him to get more appreciation for that as well. All right, let me blow through this because now I got that was so dumb. I do head-to-head rankings on Patreon as well. Deary's supposed to do them too, but he's very busy, so I can't promise you that he'll do that. I've been posting those every week though.
I had a list, and every time I hear like Chris Towers, talk about how he updates his weekly, I get like motivated, and then I pop up my computer. I'm like, I can't do this right now.
It takes a lot of work. You're a busy man. You have a job. Yeah, you have a very busy job too. So I don't have that. That's a big difference between our lives. So I dedicate all my time to you guys as much as I can. So check out the head-to-head rankings. I post those weekly. There are 450 players. I think they're useful. It's for head-to-head cats, not points, but you can still use the rankings for almost anything, I would say. The Fantrax article every Monday at fantraxhq.com. Fantasy Baseball Confidential. I love doing that article. I hope you enjoy it. I know you can get something out of it. And then a shout-out to Bogman and Welsh. Those guys came through in the most bizarre way.
They called you.
They called me live, totally spontaneous. They apparently have this board or thing, the wheel they spin, and wherever it lands on is what you got to do. So they had to call an analyst or something. So they called me, and I happened to be doing my first viewing of The Fast and the Furious that day, which I was live tweeting, which I'd also never done. I've never live tweeted a movie. I know people have done that before. Yeah, it was interesting. I never saw that movie, so I thought it'd be a new experience, especially because it's so old, and it started the whole franchise. But Bogman, it was Bogman. It was a 480 number, and I usually wouldn't answer. That's what's funny, too, dear. So often I never answer the phone.
No.
But I saw the 480, and for some reason I picked it up because my brother used to live in Arizona. He had a 480 number forever, so I thought of that. And then I thought, I also have my school, where I'm getting my master's in, online, is based in Arizona. I thought maybe it was them, too, so it turns out to be Bogman. And they made me sing for them, and you can hear the whole thing on their latest episode of In This League podcast. I think it was posted on Thursday, so if you want to check that out. I love those guys. They're so unique. We're so relatable to them. I feel like Bogman and Welsh, me and Deary, all four of us, we could meld into one podcast and it would all flow the same. I feel very connected to those guys.
Fucking hilarious, man. Hey, people can call us right now if they want. You got your number at the bottom.
That is true. We only had one person ever take advantage of that. That was Mike Curlin. He did call the show once. And, yeah, no one's called. I've had a couple scam likelies called. I don't know who that was. So
I got many of those.
Yeah. At least they tell you it's a scam now, so I don't even have to answer. I will give the credits to the iPhones or whoever came up with that for doing that. All right, then, so I mentioned all that business. That's enough for now. Plus, finally, 5-star review on Spotify. We had a friend of ours, he heard about, last time I said somebody gave us a negative star rating on Spotify, and he came through with a 5-star. I can't remember who that was off the top of my head, but thank you for doing that. Thank you so much. And if somebody else could rate us 5 stars. If you use Spotify at all, just give us the 5-star rating. All you got to do is click. You don't have to write a review. But if you could write an Apple Podcast review, that would really help the show, guys. I'm not begging. I'm just asking. If you like what we do, give it a shot. All right. After all that, I think we've been on for like an hour. Let's get into leading off.
You want to talk some baseball?
Okay. Oh, we got a couple comments here. Just Bob says, loosen up. I hope maybe you're talking to Kent. Yeah, I feel like you're talking to Kent. Good man. Ooh, Chad's got breaking news. Look at this. Astros are calling up Corey Lee. Everyone in leagues with catchers rejoice. Deary, does the name Corey Lee ring any bells?
No, not really. Not my fault.
Yeah.
Corey Lee.
Corey
the Astros,
Lee.
6'2" catcher, 210 pounds, 23 years old. He's got 10 home runs at AAA this year.
Ooh. Okay. He's going to turn 24 this month.
Only batting 226, high K rate. He's got 6 stolen bases. Ooh, look at this. A catcher that could swipe some bags. Corey Lee, get excited.
That's strange. Yeah, that shows that. Well, catchers are always underrated for their athleticism. They really are. Like MJ Melendez, he is such an athlete. I watch him play. I swear he could steal 20 bases in a season easy if he wanted to. I really believe that. Maybe I'm crazy. I do.
Melendez?
Yeah. I've got issues. Just accept it. Look,
is he going to fit as a catcher forever with them?
Hell yeah. Sal Perez, he's fading, man. Sal Perez can't catch forever. Melendez is going to be an excellent catcher for them. I truly see him behind the dish. He's so athletic, and he's killing lefties this year. I don't want to spoil another name that could be coming up here shortly. Look, Corey Lee, based on the profile you see here on Fangraphs, like Deary said, 6 steals is nice, 10 home runs. Doesn't walk a lot. He's got a 285 OBP. That is not good. At AAA, I'd like to see an OBP at least at 320. That's not wonderful. But he could have been struggling. And in his previous seasons, it's kind of the same thing. At AAA, he seemed to have struggled a bit more than at the other levels. So, whatever. Corey Lee, Chad, if you got something else to mention about him, please let me know. Because otherwise, I don't really have much to say about Corey Lee of the Houston Astros. 220 is like the catcher batting title this year. Oh, come on. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. We've got a couple catchers that are really playing well this year, Deary. If you look at some of the best catchers in the game batting.
I got to bring this up. 220.
Yeah. Who's got the best batting average as a catcher right now? Tell me. I want to know. Seriously. I think the best catchers in the game. JT Realmuto has struggled. I know he's got a bad batting average this year, so I'm throwing him out.
239 for Realmuto.
Yeah, that's not. He's a career 272 hitter. That's not good enough. Then Sal Perez has been injured, so throw him out. Then you've got.
I think he's actually right on this.
No way.
There's 3 guys above 240.
No. See, Tyler Stevenson can hit for average. He's hurt right now, but he can hit for average. So I want to make sure that even though he's hurt right now, he's a 280 hitter. He can hit for 280, and that's sure 220 for every other catcher most of the way. That's fair, but I want to give my guy Tyler Stevenson some love because he deserves it. And even though he's on the shelf right now, he deserves credit for his ability to get hits. And I love that man. And I want to make sure that he is praised. All praise be to Tyler Stevenson. Am I wrong, Deary? Come on.
He was batting 305 before he went on the shelf.
Hell yeah, dude. See, I know Leanne's doing a meeting in the kitchen right now. I feel like I'm getting too loud here, but I'm passionate about this. I feel very strongly about it. But okay, for the most part, catchers don't hit for average very well. I know that, but there are a lot of fun catchers.
I'm way off. It's more like 250 for like the average of those top guys. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was looking at there.
Sometimes, too much coke, too much smoke. I don't know.
There's too much coke.
It's weird when you pull up the Fangraphs. If you click on the catcher position for batting stats.
Yeah, what am I missing here?
Is it because none of these other guys qualify?
No.
Yeah. Their qualification standards, I think that's what it is. Look at this, because when you go to minimum plate appearances, qualified, and then you could change it to any number. So if you put 10, then that changes a lot.
How is Travis Denard not on this list?
I know, like that's what I want to know. What qualified
he has over 200 plate appearances.
Yeah, but he's played in 52 games compared to Alejandro Kirk, who's played in 67 games. But you're right. He only has 30 less plate appearances than Alejandro Kirk. So that is odd. That's fair. I think that's a really fair point. But when it comes to batting average, that is the guy that we were missing. Alejandro fucking Kirk, dude. He's hitting 320. Yeah. 320, Deary.
320,
legitimately.
10 bombs, 39
Yes.
runs. He's got 925 OPS.
Yeah, that is legit. I mean, I love Tyler Stevenson, but how could I forget my man, Alejandro Kirk? He is he's the best offensive catcher now because the pedigree was there. We believed in the bat. I was worried about his hips and the size. He's 5'8", 270 for a while there. I don't know what he's at now. That always made me a little concerned, but my concerns are gone now because even if he's on a tear and he cools off in the second half, he's still going to finish with, I guarantee you right now, Alejandro Kirk finishes the season no worse than a 280 batting average. I'm locking that in.
Oh, I mean, it would take a real bad slump over the next 3 months for him to be down at that. He's what, 319 right now? And what I love the most, and this is probably not something that people thought about. I mean, a lot of people were excited about Kirk if he could, solidify the catching position or, get some DH run and that he was going to give you some value because of the high batting average he's going to give you. He's batting fourth for the Blue Jays right now. His last 5 games, he's batted fourth every single one of those games. That's incredible when you have Springer, Bichette, and Guerrero ahead of you, and then Teoscar, Gurriel, and then Chapman after that. So it's like unbelievable, man. This guy's in a prime spot for RBIs.
Damn straight. I had kept Dalton Varsho in my home league. Shout out to the BYB. No, oh, wait, that's the wrong button. That doesn't sound good. Sorry, I got all flustered in my button press earlier. But the BYB is a 14-team 5x5 OBP instead of average home league. And we had 8 keepers. I kept Dalton Varsho, but I picked up Alejandro Kirk in May. Just picked him up off the free agent wire. This is a 14-team league. It's a deep league. I am so grateful for that kind of luck right there. Kirk should have been on other people's radars, at least as an offensive catcher, especially in OBP league, but I don't know. He was sitting there, and ever since then, he's become this guy. And in fact, he really should just be the catch of the day. I had a different name in mind, but let's just give it to Kirk. I mean, because the guy's been killing it, and we haven't mentioned him enough on the show, so he is the catch.
Good. Our first catch of the day.
Good for you, Alejandro Kirk. Honorable mention to A.J. Minter, Deary. A.J. Minter got a save this week because Kenley Jansen went on the IL. Well, unfortunately, with more irregular heartbeat issues, it's a bummer, but Minter got a save. Then Will Smith got a save, too. And I still think that they may do a committee thing while Jansen is out, and the word is Jansen shouldn't be out that long. But Minter's been so damn good that he is deserving of being the closer. I really do think that. Jansen can't go at all. I think Minter finally has the mental part of this game figured out a bit more. I think he's more calm, and he's understanding what it takes to be that closer. Not every reliever knows what it takes initially. They got the stuff physically, but they don't always have the mental side of it figured out, and that's a huge part of it, having to deal with the pressure of closing out games.
Yeah, I've always loved how that Braves bullpen is built, and this year that's why, if you weren't super high on Kenley, then, Smith was getting drafted. I mean, even a guy like Colin McHugh, who he may walk into a save here and there, but he can give you some wins because he can go 2-3 innings. Smith, Minter, just like the bullpen that they've had there. And this is why I think they're going to chase down the Mets, is like they have that championship pedigree, and Minter's done it before. Smith has done it before. So the Braves are in good hands. And, hopefully Kenley comes back, and hopefully, the irregular heartbeat and the issues he's been having, he comes back. And that's just another guy you can throw into your pistol for the Braves. So I love what Minter's doing. I think he's probably going to be the guy, going forward a little bit. Sure. Probably some committee here and there, but, a tough lefty like that, it's really hard.
Yeah. Something Jansen's dealt with in his career before, this heart issue. So it's nothing new. Not that it doesn't mean it's any less serious, but I would assume he gets signed to big contracts for big money. These people don't just do that blindly. Except, of course, in the case of Freddie Freeman. What do you think about that story, dear? Do you find that to be just the most bizarre thing you've heard in a while? The fact that he didn't know there was an offer for him, or that it was supposedly withheld by his agent, who he ended up firing? Or is it just bullshit? Did Doug Gottlieb tweeted it and that we all believe it? Like, why does Doug Gottlieb know that?
Doug Gottlieb is like the czar of baseball now. Like Doug Gottlieb is a shitty basketball analyst. Like I've never been a fan of Gottlieb. I don't know if like this smoke actually turns into fire, and I don't think it necessarily matters. I think both teams seem to be happy with what they got back. I mean, I know Olsen isn't having a great season, but he is leading the league in doubles, and he has hit a double dong the other day. But yeah, weird story. It's always weird how these things come out. Maybe it's just because it's like 4th of July weekend, and it's just, hey, let's just dump this story out there. But very odd.
Wow. Okay. Well, Deary coming correct.
I got a 5-inch taste.
Do you now? That's fascinating. I did not know that. Andy Bell's here. What's up, guys? Love the pod. Andy, good to have you here. Shout out to you. Pleasure to have you aboard, Andy. Join the Discord for free. Come and talk to us when we're not on the air. We got a lot of great people in there. Christian Crespo and the prospect dudes, Benjamin Chase and Phil Goyette. You guys have so many prospect questions. We got the MLB draft coming up this month too, Deary. Did you know we got a top 20 pick possibly right in our backyard?
Oh, Brock Porter from St. Mary's?
That's right, yeah.
Dude, did you follow that team at all this year?
I've heard some things from our teammate Andrew on our softball team. Shout out to you, Andrew. But that's it.
They went 44-0. They got upwards to 10 guys going to play Division I ball. They got like 3 guys that throw 90. They talk about them not only being the best high school baseball team in the state of Michigan ever, but like up there nationally. Like they just plowed through the season, and it's amazing what they do over there in Orchard Lake.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've always been a perennial powerhouse over here, and they're a private school with plenty of cash. That's right. All right, let's take a look at the Plaza Podcast Invitational. We do that on the show every week. Bottom line is my team is god-awful, so nothing's changed there, but we need to give credit where it's due to the people who are dominating this league, which is not me. And I assume it's not Deary either. Is that fair to say?
Not me either.
Why not?
I don't know, man. It just hasn't worked out. I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
What? My computer's not loading. The NFBC website's not loading. I don't know why that's happening.
Not for me either.
My screen.
What is going on?
Uh-oh.
Oh, NFBC's down during our pod.
Hey, that's okay. I'm gonna shout out NFBC. Those guys, Expedia, totally screwed me and Leanne on that New York City trip we're supposed to go on, which we bought trip protection for. We bought it. People out there, don't let this happen to you. We got to stand up for ourselves. We got to come together as consumers. We bought trip protection. We spent the $48 for just in case something happened so we could get our refund back. And they told us, well, it only is good for the first 24 hours after you buy the flight. I'm like, what the hell is the point of trip protection if you can't use it when the emergency comes up right before or the day of the flight? I mean, get the hell out of here, Expedia. Boo, boo, boo. Bogus job by Expedia. And I want to thank the NFBC for tweeting. They retweeted my tweet and said, hey, get this right. NFBC, that was very cool of you guys. You didn't have to do that. So thanks, Tom and Derek and all you guys over there. Much obliged.
Oh, and it's working again.
Screwed.
It's because we were talking about him. It's working again. Oh, I remember. I know why my team sucks. I'm in 8th in my individual league. I know exactly why my team sucks. I have Jose Barrios. I have Ian Anderson. I have Herman Marquez on my fucking team.
Oh, boy.
And I can't drop them. This is a draft and hold. I have the worst pitching in the league and a top 3 offense.
Yeah, I'm in 13th out of 15th in my league. Remember, we have 5 leagues. Yep, total trash. There's no doubt about it. It's Garbo. But I will say this, it hasn't been a flawless victory. We have failed.
You have failed.
Totally failed, yes. 13th in my league, 5 leagues overall. Brock Miller is in 2nd place, Deary. This is the big breaking news. Overall, Brock Miller has lost his grip on the overall title. We have a new person in 1st place. Andrew Poplin is in 1st place. Congratulations, Andrew. You've overtaken Brock Osmowski, who I have nothing but respect for. Brock, you're the man. You know that. We met in real life. He's a great resource for getting healthy and training and exercise as well. But Andrew Poplin, Deary, has 605 overall points. Brock Miller has 560, and that's a nice lead for Andrew right now. 3rd place is Zach Nelson. What's up, Zach? Greg Jewett's in 4th. And Evan Reinbold rounds out the top 5 for the overall standings. So there you have it. Not very good news for either of us in the Pleasant Podcast Invitational. But over in Glarf, which we always try to update you guys on as well, we are holding our own. We're hanging tough. And the overall, by the way, the Earth overall, which Glarf is a part of, Earth is the overall. Glarf is one of the 10 regional sub-leagues of Earth. You got it? I'm in 14th overall, and you are somehow behind me in 16th. How does that work?
I have no idea. When I look at those standings like that, and I have 104 points, and you have 99.5, and I'm in first in Glarf, and you're in third, but I'm 16th overall, and you're 14th overall. I feel like this has been explained before to us, but I don't know.
It has.
Someone pop into the chat.
Yeah, just to remind us, because it has been explained to us before. Dave McDonald, by the way, is splitting us. Oh, Dave, he's a good player. He's got the same amount of points as I do in Glarf at 99.5. You've got 104. You still got a nice lead in Glarf, Deary, so just keep doing what you're doing. I don't see why things would change for you, because when you look at your roster, you got Matt Olson, who's really starting to turn it on. So that he's only going to get better the rest of the season. I see that. Matt Olson is an excellent player, and he's best yet to offer. Drafting Mike Trout was a wise choice, Deary. Even though he hasn't stolen any bags, hasn't even attempted to steal, he's still a really, really good hitter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was happy when I was able to get him. I believe I got him on the turn there, and I got Devers, and obviously Aaron Judge is the reason I lead in home runs and RBIs, and you got a guy like Brandon Nimmo who's going to score 100 runs. I mean, Alec Thomas has been certainly helping the team out when he does play. He can give you some runs. And, a guy like Gleyber Torres, he goes through these streaks. He's been injured over here the last week, but, he had a decent month. And Justin Verlander is the whole reason my pitching has been able to keep me in this, because fucking Verlander is amazing. Myself and you and several other in the industry had him as a top, 10 to 15 pitcher this year. And he's been an absolute stud.
Don't dismiss Tony Gonsolin.
Yeah, Tony Gonsolin. I mean,
leads the NL in ERA.
Scooped up Martin Perez, who it's fallen apart a little bit now. But I mean, I'm even rolling with a guy like Michael Fulmer, who's going to scoop up some wins for me here and there. In the bullpen, he's been fantastic. Most likely, the Tigers are trading him away. And if I can get some more saves from Doval and Barlow, I could start climbing up in some of those categories that I'm near the bottom in, and that's stolen bases and saves.
And you got Jorge Blanco on the bench, who's been hurt prior, so that's another great bat you can rely on. Somehow you have Victor Robles on your bench, too. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, that was a scoop up a few weeks ago to try to possibly get stolen bases. I don't believe I have played him once.
You need to drop Reed Detmers, too, by the way. He's in the minor leagues. So I'm just letting you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't give up on me, Dad. So, yeah, there it is. That's what's going on at Glarf. That's what's going on in the Palazzo Podcast Invitational. We'd like to keep you guys updated. All right, I want to get to the focus of the show. We keep always not getting there, so I'm going to skip ahead a few chapters. In terms of bye, and I didn't do that last week either, Return to the Mac, two things that I rather enjoy. There's players on the mend, and there's players who have been hurt. Jason Castro is going on the IL today. That's why Corey Lee's called up, and we learned that during the show. Thanks to our killer crew here in the live chat. Shout out to all you guys. I just want to mention that Nick Lodolo is coming back. He'll be ready to go. And Chris Sale's in Double-A. Chris Sale's smoking it. He struck out 7 guys for Portland in, I think, 4 innings. He's ready to rock. He's going to be really, really good. I think people who held on to him are going to appreciate what he has to offer in the second half. The question is, will it be enough to salvage a season? That is the real question, my friends. Also, Chad says the Marlins have called up Billy Hamilton. What is the record for most steals in a month by a team? Because Hamilton and Bertie could absolutely shatter that. See, the problem with that, though, Deary, what's the problem with that? Go ahead, because I know why you shook your head there.
It's Billy Hamilton. He's not going to get on base, and he's not going to play.
Here it is. That's exactly what I was thinking. Billy Hamilton can't get on base. He can't steal a bag. It's one of the prerequisites for steals in Major League Baseball. So, sure, if he could get on base, that'd be great, but he never walked much, and that was always his thing. He's just this guy with a lot of speed, like a Malik Smith, who just does nothing else. Good fielder. That's cool. But he's not even like an elite fielder. He's a solid fielder. He wasn't a Gold Glove winner or anything either, Deary. So
people got excited last year when he got called up with the White Sox, and I'm looking at his numbers right here. And through 135 plate appearances last year, he struck out 34% of the time, and he walked 3%. You can't roster a guy like that in the majors or in fantasy.
Good God. Yeah, that is
Tigers.
bogus.
Tigers should get him.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers should get him. Okay, well, whatever. Tigers suck. Billy Hamilton sucks. They do have something in common. Maybe it's a marriage that's meant to be.
Tigers are playing tonight.
Tigers have the Royals in town, I believe, Deary. That's exciting.
Sounds like runs. Nope.
Sounds like, yep. Nope. Javi Baez has played better, though. Credit to Javi. Thank you for at least trying a little bit. Bubba says, book direct, never through a third party. Bubba, I think I'm with you now, man. These places I used to think were beneficial, but they break up the flights now. They'll book you a flight, and you'll use two different airlines they'll call them one ways, so they're not really connected for each flight. And that's how they screw you. I'm not letting that happen again. Bubba, I'm with you. Thank you for the support. Chad from Twitch says, Chris Sale just got confirmed. He has just one more start before his activation on July 6th. Yeah! I've waited a long time for this in my main event. I never dropped Sale. I drafted him in the main, and I've let him sit on my bench this whole time. I really hope it helps because I need Ks. I'm going to need a K push from him. It might be too late, though. I'm so far behind in Ks. Yeah. Just Bob's happy that it was not Yordan Alvarez who went on the IL for the Astros. That's good news, but I still don't know. We had this nasty collision between Yordan and Jeremy Pena, Deary. We haven't got IL confirmations from either, though they sat out Thursday, and they got a big series going down. So I'm thinking they might actually play. I haven't heard anything to say, oh, man, that's not going to be good for them to play this weekend. I haven't heard that. So
I was watching a little bit of that
start
game
them this
last
weekend?
night. I would start him. I was watching the game last night, and they said that both of them were out, but they were available that night. So it could just be give them a little bit rest, and maybe they're playing this weekend. So check your lineups when they come out here in a couple hours. Actually, it's 4:00.
Okay.
It should be out any minute.
It is. Yeah. They've got the Angels in town. The Angels in Houston. That should be a series that they could easily take care of the Angels. But hey, you never know. All right. So I covered that. I want to talk about this head-to-head conversation. So head-to-head to me is always, always, always so underappreciated, and we've been pushing for it on this show a lot. And I've been writing about it in the Fantasy Baseball Confidential every Monday on fantraxhq.com. I think it's just the best. I really do. It can piss you off, and I actually had a lot of support for it on Twitter this week, Deary. In particular, someone posted about how their new concept is to play head-to-head but have no playoffs. Deary, I want to know what you think of head-to-head with no playoffs.
That's interesting. I saw some of the smatterings around on Twitter, and then it made me think of how I can maybe change things up for the playoffs. I also heard somebody talk about like ending the season a little earlier and doing for the playoffs, doing your 6 teams or 8 teams, whatever you want to do, and have each week be 2 weeks. I like that. It kind of throws away the one random week that you might have. I love head-to-head. I've always loved it. I know, a lot of the truthers love Roto, which I enjoy Roto, but I love the being able to reset every week and then looking at your matchups, who you're going against, and being able to possibly sit certain guys once you have some categories wrapped up for the week. I mean, there's been Sundays where I sat my whole offense because I have, average is the only thing that's a possibility I could lose, and I'll set my whole offense if I have to. You got to be smart when you do set these leagues up in terms of minimums innings pitched, and also I love the idea of having a bunch of different types of categories. I play in a saves holds league, I play in a K per 9 league, an OPS league. And there's been many leagues I've played in the past where we tried a category for a year and then kind of threw it away. But I think I've hit the sweet spot with a lot of my leagues. And most of my leagues I play in that are head-to-head have similar categories. So it really helps when I'm drafting.
Absolutely. I love it, man. Just give me that head-to-head. But I like this concept of no playoffs. You play head-to-head. You deal with the variance. You deal with the uncertainty week to week. It does happen. Random shit goes down, and it's going to piss you off. But in the end, the Sunday nights and the way each week can end, it can come down to a single whip, like 0.1 of a whip. It's happened before. Championships have been won in such ways. It's pretty wild. Chad on Twitch says, a competing podcast has been touting the half season and then redraft head-to-head format, which is intriguing. The half season. Oh, this is this Joe's? You don't have to hide it. I think you can share it. I think Joe Pisapia, I feel like. Is this Fantasy Pros? Let me know if I'm right about that, because I think Joe Pisapia has been working on the hybrid. In fact, I joined a hybrid league this season that he started up as a public thing, but I believe that's who you're talking about. Let me know if I'm right about that, Chad. We're live here on the Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
Christopher Deary.
Give me 2.
Michael Govier, C. Deary, 1999 on Twitter. Deary is in Dearly Beloved. MJ Govier, G-O-V is in Victor, I-E-R. And let's get into the main course then. Head-to-head rules. I love it. I also want to mention the last thing about that. When you're trying to make the playoffs, if you have 10 cats, if you have a 5x5, 6-4 every week is a winning record. You can make the playoffs that way. And a lot of people don't like to punt categories in head-to-head, but you can certainly punt a category or two if you need to. You can build a top-heavy offense and try to stream pitching to make up the ground. Like in BYB, we have such short benches that a lot of streaming comes into play, Deary, and it really burns teams that try to lock in on the best pitchers, like the DeGroms. They try to load up a massive staff, but when you're doing counting Ks as pitching, not K9, and you stay with the same guys, if they only have one start that week, even if it's a 10K night, that's great. If you got to go streams a few different pitchers, you can end up taking those counting categories, wins, saves, and Ks, and then the ratios might be lost. But if you also have a smaller, more consistent pitching staff, you might get a blow-up start that could blow up your ratios. And if you're not streaming pitchers, then you're kind of screwed there. So I see it that way, as a way to really be creative is to punt and also consider what are the league rules. Maximize it. If you got a short bench, stream your ass off. Go to town on that. But make that big trade right before the deadline to get pitchers, because in our league, you can't really stream in the playoffs because you only get, I think, 1 move per week, maybe 2. Usually, otherwise, it's unlimited because you have 100 for the season.
How many bench spots do you have in BYB?
I think it's only 4?
6, maybe? Really? Wow.
I don't think it's 6. I'm serious. Yeah, it's really tight. I don't know. Chad says, I don't know where it originated, but DJ Short has been talking about it. Okay, DJ from Roto World. Shout out to DJ. You're the man. Oh, sorry, not Roto World. NBC Sports Edge. Sorry. But yeah, I think the bench is 4 off the top of my head. Look at this. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, it's 4.
Wow.
It's tight. Yeah. It's real tight. We also do this. We play. We have left, center, and right field positions, not outfield.
How do you like that?
When I first started doing it 6 years ago, I thought it was stupid as hell, but it's become second nature to me now. You get the 3 spots and then a general outfield spot and a utility. So,
I generally don't punt categories in head-to-head. I try to stay competitive in those, but I don't necessarily. If I won't chase categories as much, I will depend. I will depend on, just looking at this one team I have. I depend on just looking at the offense. I depend on the offense that I have, that I'm going to hit a lot of home runs and steal a lot of bases, because I have Julio Rodriguez, I have Ronald Acuna, I have Matt Olson, who should be able to get you 35 to 40 home runs. Trevor Story, who's going to give me 10 stolen bases and hopefully 25 home runs. So
maybe I'm just not making.
Unfortunately, I also have OPS in this league, and a guy like Trevor Story, sure, he has 12 home runs and went on that 2-week run, and he's got 52 RBIs, but his OPS is killing me. His OPS is 720 right now. So, Jesse Winker, a guy who OBP master, who's just now starting to come around. He's got a 704 OPS, and I'm starting this guy every single day. Now, what has kept me in this league and competitive in 7th place is we have saves and holds. And, a guy like Daniel Bard has 15 saves. Michael Fulmer has 13 holds. Colin McHugh, 5 holds. Anthony Bass has 11 holds. I also have Liam Hendricks and Aroldis Chapman just coming back here soon. So starting pitching is not as, it's not as important in this league whatsoever. If you can build a team that gets a ton of holds, a ton of saves, and has a great K per 9, your whip is going to be low too. You might not get quality starts, but if you can hit 33 innings pitched a week, you have a really good shot of winning 4 of your 5 categories.
Ooh, look who knows so much, huh?
Damn right he does. Well said, Deary. I like that. I like what you're saying there. Don't get caught up in the weekly chase with the head-to-head of, you'll see the other pitching categories as attainable, but you could also sacrifice the other ratios. Or if you're trying to get wins, say you're down 2-4 in wins, but you're leading your ratio categories, Don't go chase that dragon. One of the hardest things to do, and it's always a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, is to be patient and not chase every category. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. You don't need to win every damn category. If you can win the week, lock in to say, all right, I got a 6-4 victory or a 7-3 victory. You should be thrilled with that. Don't get greedy because you could blow up your ratios and still lose wins, and then you end up losing the week. It's happened in the past, and it's something I've become really, really good at, is being patient. Like, whoa, Nelly, slow down now. So that's something I really want to impart.
Another interesting strategy that sometimes comes into play in head-to-head is picking up a guy with the intention of not even playing him whatsoever, so your opponent doesn't pick them up. If you're looking at a Sunday where this guy could possibly catch you in Ks if you are doing a K league, or catch you in wins, and you have the ability to pick somebody up and just to prevent him from picking him up, go ahead and do it. I've done it several times in these leagues over the years.
Chad says that Jeremy Pena is returning to the lineup tonight, but there's no Jordan. Yeah, I benched Jordan in one of our leagues. I think the tag team league, actually. I thought he should sit this weekend. He might not play. But Pena's in the lineup, so that's good news. Get Jeremy Pena in your lineup, everybody. Bubba says, totally, Deary. Cock blocking is a strategy. I didn't know that. Wow. Also, Bubba says, do you have a preference, wins or quality starts? Both have their advantages and disadvantages. I don't really have a preference either way. Whatever it is what it'll be. I guess I would... I don't think I do.
I've gone back and forth with it over the years. I play in a wins league, and I also play in a quality starts league. The quality starts league, really the only reason we have quality starts is to make starting pitching somewhat valuable in this league. And it generally has to be guys that strike out a lot of guys, because we also have the K per 9. If wins was in there, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have both. I think it's, a detriment to have both, because I think they just play against each other too much. But with wins, it's what I've noticed over the last 3 or 4 years in several of my leagues is I've gone out and picked up guys that were middle relief guys. Think of Brent Suter last year. He had over 10 wins, and he was valuable in one of my head-to-head leagues that had wins because he was getting so many of them out of the bullpen, and sometimes he'd do a spot start here and there. But it's another caveat to playing head-to-head when you have certain categories, and there's a different strategy to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Different players become valuable in head-to-head.
It's so important to know your league. It seems really trite, but it's so true. Know your league setup. Get a clue, lock into it, and maximize your opportunities. We got you, Bubba. That's right. Chad says, I once won a $1,000 NFL league doing that by adding 4 quarterbacks versus someone who lost their quarterback headed in the title game. Of course. Chris Towers talked about this yesterday. Pick up guys or trade for guys, too, because we're talking buy low. If you trade for guys that are going to bring the best part of their season is yet to come, you're also taking away an advantage from someone you're playing. There's a lot of ways to usurp your competitors or suck out some positive return and output for your competitors by gaining for you. So it's a double whammy victory that you get a player that'll produce and you're taking away from another squad. That's smart. That's strategy. That's logics and gaming and all that stuff, getting into all that world, which is a lot of fun. But we're not going to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, it's why in fantasy football, so many people, there's the strategy of people just draft every fucking running back that's out there, because once this guy becomes a starter, maybe you're not playing him, but no one else in the league can scoop him up.
Yep. That's right.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, wow, dude. Just Bob says, question, if it's called cock blocking for males, is it called beaver dam for females? Oh, my God.
A nice beaver.
Just, I don't have the answer to that. I've never heard that. I will say that. Chad says Griffin Jacks this year has been that. Oh, yeah, Griffin Jacks of the Twins, Deary, has been somebody who could pick up those wins, and he's been pitching in multi-innings, and I think maybe a spot start, just kind of like you were describing with Suter this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like him. He's my man. I wish I could answer everything on the show, but we don't always have all the answers, Just Bob. So if you have the answers to Just Bob's queries, and we don't judge anyone, we're open-minded on the show. So give us the answers if you have them.
Nice beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
That is from our namesake, the Palazzo Podcast, the Naked Gun, 2 L's, 2 Z's, Palazzo Podcast on Twitter, Palazzo Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to the show. Please connect with us. We're growing. We're with you. We're going to entertain you, and we're going to help you win Skrilla. All right, let's talk about the main event here. Let's talk about 3 months to go. It's July 1st, 2022. We're going to be dead soon, but before we die, who's going to have a hot July? Deary, I have a pretty good feel for who I think is going to do well this July. I think I see it clearly. I feel pretty good about that. But of course, you know, I've spent the first 3 months of the season here, April, May, and June. I'm killing it in my home league, but you know, a lot of the other leagues, it's been a tough go. It's not looking as promising as last year when I was very, very successful placing in a lot of my leagues. Not every year is going to be a winner, I guess, and it's not over yet, though. That's my point here. That is what I want to impart to all of you. Do not give up. Never give up. Don't ever give up. So, Deary, can you give me a player that you're excited about for July? Where are we going with this?
Yeah, you know, this was interesting. These list of players I have on here, some of them are, hey, you know, that seems kind of obvious, and some of them are just absolute long shots. But I want to throw some of these guys out here as guys who could possibly break out. Mike talked about his confidence on his list of guys. I don't know if I'm super confident on all these guys, but just looking into what I've seen over the last month, and especially the last couple weeks, there's some guys that I might want to talk about. So the first one I'm going to bring up is actually from our hometown Tigers. Now, I'm worried that this guy is just a part-time player and possibly isn't going to be able to get the at-bats. But what happens if, which the Tigers should do this, send Spencer Torkelson down? Eric Haas is someone who can play in the field. He can play first base. He can play the outfield. And he can also.
The fuck is he talking about?
You got to remember, this guy had 22 home runs last year in 381 plate appearances. He's got 3 home runs in his last 8 games. Last year, he had 9 home runs in July with 29 RBIs. His exit velocity has looked really nice the last couple of weeks. Like I said, I'm nervous about him being a part-time player, but this guy does have some power. From the catcher position, I'm just worried he's not going to get the amount of playing time to actually warrant him having a hot July, but he did it last year. And if he can start getting more at-bats, he's a guy who can give you 10 home runs this month. And I think Eric Haas might start heating up here a little bit as we move into July. So he's one that I could see, you know, you scooping up very, very cheap. He's probably available in many leagues. I have him as like a 3rd, 4th catcher, option in several of my NFBC leagues. And I'm going to play him here over the next couple of weeks and see what happens. So Eric Haas.
That shit has nothing to do with me.
That's Spencer Torkelson saying, come on, man, it's not me, man. Wow. Eric Haas is a guy that I'm rostering right now in my main event as a catcher. I picked him up a couple weeks ago, and he's been heating up. I like what you're saying. I like these things. I'm into it. Andy Bell says, Juan Soto, 1,000+ OPS in July. I hope to God. I guarantee it. I didn't put Juan Soto in my June swoon article because it just seemed like it's too obvious. I'm not going to put the top 5 players in baseball in there. But yeah, Juan Soto's he's going to have a great July. It's coming. Just lock it in. Lock it in now.
I have some notes on him. He has a 225 BABIP this year. His career is closer to 330. His K rate is right on par. His walk rate is right on par. He's hit safely in 6 straight. Launch angle is a little concerning because it's not as great as it was, over the last couple of years. Look what he did last July. If he can put up last July's numbers this upcoming July, which I absolutely think he can. He's a top 5 player and amazing talent. Last year, he batted 356 with 9 home runs last year and had more walks than Ks. He's the obvious guy who should have a monster July.
Bingo. I like your head's at, Deary. Thanks for giving us this insight on Juan Soto, who is a great player. So what are we even talking about here? I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. He's a killer with a baseball bat. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, so for me, I want to bring this up too, Deary. This is curious to me. There's a guy I respect a great deal. And I didn't get a follow-up on what he was saying here, but Rob Silver, shout out to Rob, one of the greats. He's won the overall main event before in 2016, I believe. So he plays in some of the biggest money leagues in the NFBC. Like he's in I saw him drafting in the Platinum or the Super Platinum. It's like a $10,000 buy-in. So, I mean, this guy is big time. Yeah, I saw him there at the table. I think that's what it was.
That's anxiety.
Rob could probably clarify for me. Yeah, it's intense. It's very intense. But this was his tweet. And this was yesterday. Possibly the single biggest mistake I see people make in fantasy baseball is looking at recent performance. Last week, 2 weeks, month. and assume it's predictive of what's about to happen. It could be interesting to look at. Lots of things are interesting, but it's not helping ya. Deary, what's your response to that?
I certainly understand it, and Rob is probably smarter than I when it comes to analyzing fantasy baseball. But
I wouldn't say that. You've been playing as long as he has.
We know how streaks go. Sometimes streaks are a couple days. It's a weekend series. It could be 2 weeks. Sometimes they last a month or more, and I really like to see what's been going on the last couple of weeks, especially with hitters as they start to heat up, because in my mind, that generally will transfer over, especially if they are a guy who is a really good player who has done this before. And you look at some of their underlying numbers for when maybe they were cold and maybe there's a little unluckiness. Maybe it was the start of the season and they had, an injury, didn't have much of a spring training, if any at all. Obviously, the ball changed. So the last couple weeks to a month is kind of how I do predict what's going on in the future. But certainly there's hundreds of ways you can analyze anything when it comes to a player. What I will always encourage everybody to do is just look deeper into all of the stats and what it all looks like.
Yeah, there was a lot of commentaries within this thread. I encourage you guys to check it out. Go follow Rob Silver, and you can find that on Twitter at Rob Silver. This thread had a lot of comments about how rolling averages are really a better way to go when it comes to looking at predicting future performance. But it's not about predicting. It's not just about predicting future performance when you look at recent trends of a player, 2 weeks, month, 5 days. I want to know where a player is, and just because the production happens doesn't mean it will continue, but I'm going to look at certain parameters of the statistics to tell me, okay, where's that person in the lineup? Is this person playing every day too? All of these things matter. There's so much context and nuance here that I think goes into this. That's why I really would love to talk to Rob about this. I should have responded to this tweet, and I didn't have a chance to do it. I wanted to engage in a discussion about it because I saw somebody, Torres Takes on Twitter. Please follow Torres. Shout out to Torres. He's the man. Torres Takes on Twitter. He said looking at recent trends has helped him quite a bit. I think if you ignore it, you're missing a piece of the puzzle. And Rob's response was, if it helps you, then do it. Just one guy's opinion. I'm wrong way more than I'm right. So Rob is freely admitting, that's what I like about Rob. He's not saying everything he says is all encompassing and correct all the time. It's just his opinion. But I don't think he extrapolated it enough for us to get more information out of what he was trying to make a point of. So that was my 2 cents on this. And since we're doing this, we're looking at July for players that could heat up and get hot here. It definitely had a place in the conversation. I guess that's what I wanted to say about that.
I really think what Rob is actually probably saying is there's hundreds of different methods you can use to analyze a player and what's going to be predictive into the future and what works for him.
Yeah, I guess that's what he's saying. I don't know. I want to talk to him. Maybe he'll come on the show. We'll get to talk to him about stuff. I would like to hear more about this, but that's okay. We're going to move on from that.
You have no right taking people's confidence in your service.
Oh, come on. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's true. So one of my guys for July I want you to look at is Tarik Skubal. Now, Tarik Skubal is just having some bad luck. In June, he had a very high ERA. It was not very good. He had a 5.85 ERA for the month of June, but he had a 3.84 FIP. So that's 2 runs lower. And that's just in June. And he was a really good pitcher before that. He is a good pitcher. He's got the pitch mix. He's got the velocity still. That's not down. It's just some tough matchups on the road against San Francisco. That's a tough one recently. And it was just a challenging month for him. He's still growing. But I absolutely believe, even though the Tigers are total trash,
Go Tigers,
that Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher on the staff. And he's going to prove it this month. And he's going to start by taking on the Royals this weekend and kicking their butt in July to set the tone for a first-class July. Tarik Skubal, baby. Love it. I want him everywhere. Go get him. If you can, I would want him on my team for sure.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of bad luck. Really, the only time I do tune in and watch the Tigers is when Tarik Skubal pitches. Because like you said, he's the best pitcher in their organization. And we saw it at the start of the season. Yes, he had an extremely tough June. You talked about, the Giants, the Red Sox. He had a tough outing against the Blue Jays and the Rangers. These are tough teams he was going against.
Yeah.
And really, the thing that was hurting him was he was giving up the long ball. He was walking too many guys, getting himself in really difficult positions to try to get out of jams. And his left on base percentage was absolute shit through the month. It was anywhere from 50 to 60% over, most of these games, when at the start of the season, he was lights out of getting out of jams. And some of these games that I did watch, he was getting squeezed too by these umpires. There was a lot of inconsistencies with some of these zones that upset me. Guy has a really nice fastball, an electric slider, and he's going through something right now, but he is the type of guy that through July can have a lights out July. He may not give you wins because he plays for our fucking shitty Tigers.
Go Tigers.
But those underlying numbers should be able to pick back up to where they were before.
Blue Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel.
Blue Horseshoe loves Tarek Skubal. I know that. That's for damn sure.
Was it this glass dick you've been sucking on, huh?
What? Tarek Skubal does not smoke crack. How dare you, Wesley Snipes? Chad says Jesse Winker could be one this month, but I think the suspension cools him off. That might be an unfortunate outcome of the suspension because he was turning it on, and he's a guy that I was pushing recently saying, go get him. He looks like he's finally getting to going this season. Bubba, in response to the Rob Silver discussion, what about opportunity? Role, stadium, effect, context, other points in addition to data. Yeah, I think that's what we're saying too. We're talking about lineup spots and all that stuff. All that stuff matters. There's so many variables that are going on in baseball every day. Also, Bubba says the style of play in your league mates will determine how you should play. Are they passive or aggressive? Knowing your league mates and what they're doing. That is something I think you learn a lot more in keeper and dynasty leagues for people you've known for years. I think it's hard to lock down the trends of players for one-off seasons. I find it a little more difficult anyways.
Yeah, it's like sitting down at a poker table with 12 guys you don't know. It's going to take you a long time to figure out how they play, and that's if you're in a redraft league where you don't really know these guys, it's going to be difficult to figure out if they are aggressive or if they're passive when making moves in their league, or whether they might sit guys. And this is generally head-to-head talk when it comes to this.
Truly. Andy Bell says Scooble gave up a few big homers. That's it. Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, back to you, Deary. Who's sizzling in July?
Yeah, so going back to what we had talked about with guys who have been really, really good, Taijuan Walker has been really, really good lately. He's got a ground ball rate of nearly 50% right now. He's had 9 and 10 Ks in his last 2 games against the Angels and the Marlins. He went 7 1/3 scoreless against the Astros the other night. Throw out what he did last year. He had a bad July last year. It was epically bad, but I'm looking into the future with what he's doing right now. He's no longer a fastball guy. His fastball's sitting at about 93 right now. But what I really like is he has this split finger that he started toying around with a couple of years ago. He's now throwing this split finger 30% of the time. And his wins above placement just with that pitch is elite. It's been really, really good. He's got matchups against the Reds, Marlins, and Cubs, not the best offenses in the National League. So he's got 3 pretty solid matchups coming up here for the Mets coming up in July. And I think Taijuan Walker is a guy who could have a really nice month for you.
Oh, boy. I think there's some people out there have been burned before by Taijuan Walker.
You fucked me. We had a partnership.
A lot of partnerships that went sour with Taijuan Walker, but you are right. He is looking pretty juicy. So I'm agreeing with what you're saying so far. I like the names you're throwing out. I'm coming back at you.
This is why I kind of pick some guys that aren't the obvious guys, or guys that maybe you don't have a ton of confidence in and that has burned you in the past. But just looking into some of these underlying numbers, I think things are trending upwards for these guys to have solid months. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll own it.
Yeah, confidence is important.
His confidence is shattered.
A vote of no confidence can be very painful. I'm going to give you Ian Anderson. I alluded to this earlier. His name came up for a moment. 26 2/3 innings pitched in June. He gave up a lot of contact. Also, he had a 5.06 ERA. Did have a 3.99 FIP, though, again. And the Ks are something I'm kind of resigning to myself to not expecting from him. If he can rock a 9K per 9 in a season, that'll be good. I'll take it from Ian Anderson. But he's on a good team. He had a bogus month. It's been a bogus start to the season, but I'm seeing some things that I like that are going in the right direction. Plus, the Braves are in a battle, and they need to rely on their guys here. Now, maybe some of you might think, is it possible that Ian Anderson could be moved in a deal? Because the Braves do have a lot of pitchers that are sitting around in the minors too. Huascar Ynoa and Kirk Muller and Tucker Davidson. A lot of guys are like, are they there? Are they there? Are they ready? Are they not ready? It's tough to say. It really is. Yeah, I know it is. But you also look at guys on the mend like Mike Soroka coming back soon. But how much can you expect from Mike Soroka? So I think Ian Anderson's role is secured here. You look at their staff right now. You got Fried and Strider and Charlie Morton and Kyle Wright. And Anderson seems to be right now the fifth guy, Deary, which is odd now. Especially after
he
was so
be
good
your 2
last
or 3.
Yeah, but he's only 24, so he's just like Kyle Wright. He was he was a top 5 pick, okay? 3rd overall pick in 2016. And last year, he started to put it together. I really liked what I got out of him last year, although I said the Ks were low. He had a 7.7 K per 9 last year. Or, sorry, 8.7. That's his K per 9 this year, 7.7. Last year, he was just under 9, which is good. And he rocked that 3.58 ERA. But he did have a FIP over 4, so maybe he's not the guy I think he is. But going back to strand rate, he's struggled again. Under 70% strand rate, 68% this season. That shows me there could be some improvement, and he's been trending in the right direction recently. The walks are very high. 4 walks per 9 this year is nightmarish. Not something to be excited about. I admit that freely. Deary, I'm no fool. I get it, but I think Ian Anderson's going to turn it on in July, and the walks have got to come down a bit. I think he's going to get that under control. If he doesn't, then this is going to blow up in my face. This is my thought on Ian Anderson. So,
yeah, he's a guy the last 2 years that I targeted in a lot of drafts just because of where he was going to be, slotted at and where I could scoop him up at. And, in 2020, when he came up, he had that amazing 32 innings that helped propel the Braves to the NLCS that year. And last year, it was an okay year. He picked it up near the end. Ended up with a 3.58 ERA. But, those K numbers aren't what we saw in the minors. In the minors, it was double-digit Ks, upwards to, 11, almost 12. 2019, it was almost 12 in 111 innings pitched. And this year, it's a career low. It's down to 7.78. And you combo that with the walk issue that he's having and also giving up the most home runs that he's given up in his career. It's been a mess. Gave up 7 runs the other night. I've given up on him. I've dropped him in 2 of my head-to-head leagues because I didn't have a use for him. I hadn't started him in probably 3-4 weeks, and I have enough other pitching that I didn't like any of the matchups. And it's a tough division to play in when you got to play the Mets, and the Phillies have been known to score double digits here and there. So can it get any worse? Probably not. He's sitting at a 5.31 ERA. The guy has the pedigree. He's got good stuff. The thing that's been killing him is he's got this really awesome changeup, but it hasn't been effective whatsoever this year, and his fastball is getting crushed. So it's been tough. I like Ian Anderson because I'm a big Braves fan, and I'd like to see him turn it around, and I hope he does.
Yeah, I hope he does too. And the Braves schedule this month is somewhat intriguing. They have 2 series against the Nats this month. That's promising. I don't fear the Nats, even though they have some players that like on them. They're in Cincinnati this weekend, which is always terrifying for offenses that are going to crush the ball in that bozo ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, yeah, I like the schedule enough. I think it'll be a little bit more favorable to him, and hopefully it helps. Deary, who else you got? Who's going to sizzle in July?
So I'm gonna do 2 really quick. One that I really wanted to do was going to be Luis Castillo of the Reds, but I looked at his schedule coming up in July, and it's trash. He plays the Yankees, Braves, Cardinals, and Pirates, and that is not that great. So I'm going to go off of Castillo, but I'm going to go with Christian Yelich. He's hitting 9 straight games, 5 multiple hit games, and he's got 2 stolen bases over that time. He's been smoking the ball lately. Concerning launch angle, which is upsetting. I'd like to get it upwards towards 10. It's at 6 right now, but he's had much more success this year against the fastball, which was his big struggle the last year and a half, is he just couldn't hit the fastball. He's been able to hit the fastball this year. The Brewers are locked out there in the Central in a huge fight with the Cardinals that they're going to have to fend off. And, I think the Brewers end up winning this division. And I think a lot of it is going to be because Christian Yelich in that leadoff position with the Brewers is going to have a hot July.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Was that 2 players?
Yeah, Castillo, stay off of Castillo. He's trending upwards right now, but I just don't like the matchups in July.
Oh, I got a Brewer too. It's Luis Urias. He is a great player. He's better than Trent Grisham. They got the better end of that deal with the Padres. That's for darn sure. And he struggled in July a bit with batting average, Urias did, but he could steal bags. He can hit home runs. He can do almost everything in the stat categories except maybe hit for a really good batting average. So other than that, I love this guy. I always have, and I don't talk about him enough. And I feel like I've been not pushing for Luis Urias. So Luis Urias of the Brewers, he's got multi-positional eligibility too, third, second, and short, depending on what format you play in. I love this dude. He can do it all. He's going to have a fun July. The Brew Crew are starting to turn it around after a bogus stretch in June. Luis Urias is a man that you want on your squad, especially in Dynasty. I love him in Dynasty. He's on my keeper team in BYB, and he might get kept this year depending on how he plays. But I'm going to see this July be a really good run for him. I want him to show me what he's made of. Give it to me, doctor. Give it to me good. I'm all in. I'm all in on it all day, especially in OBP leagues. He's even better because he walks and he can get on base. That's a specialty more than batting average. Luis Urias is the man. Chad says, by the way, on Twitch, Chad on Twitch. Chad, you're the man. You've been here the whole show. Nice job. Christopher Morel might be heating up. Might be heating back up if he ever cooled off, frankly. Went 5 for 5 last night with a home run. That's a great night. And he just hit a 2-run bomb to tie the game in real time.
All right.
I wish I knew what this kid was going to end up being. I like him a lot. He jumped from AA, remember, and he hasn't gone back down. So you got to expect some stretches where it might not go well for him, but he can hit for power, and he's showing speed, and he's been hitting at the top of the lineup. I love this dude. I would love to get that guy in my squad. No questions asked.
If you can get a guy that has possibility of hitting 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, strikes out 30% of the time, but somehow bats 280, Jesus, I'll take that all day. I mean, a lot of it is attributed to a 381 BABIP.
Yeah.
If he can bring these K rates down, being at the top of the lineup with the Cubs, he's going to give you some value. Absolutely. And, this is a guy that everybody scooped up for free. So it's like, if he falls apart, you can put him on the bench. You have options to put guys on your bench if you don't want to play him, but you can hold on to him, especially if it's a guy like Morel who came up and started hot and then went 5 for 5 last night.
Yeah, he's only 23. He's a man. He just turned 23 on June 24th, okay? This guy is he's a find for the Cubs. They keep bringing up these guys who produce. Pedrick Wisdom, last year, people thought he was a fluke. He's killing the ball. He's been crushing the shit out of the ball this year. And I love Wisdom, by the way. You want to ride Wisdom the rest of the season. That's just a side note. All right, Deary, back to you.
So I don't know if this guy's really going to have a great month, but I kind of just want to throw him out there just to see. I didn't have a ton of time to do a ton of research on guys, but this is a guy that just talking about a guy who's been trending amazingly over the last few months. This guy was a big time prospect, had really high K rate numbers in the minors, hasn't really struck out a ton of guys since he's been up this year.
I'm a false prophet.
He's only given up 1 run over the last 23 2/3 inning. This is Dean Kramer of the Orioles. This guy's having an electric season right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's hit his stride yet. He has an amazing left on base percentage, but a 1.29 ERA in 28 innings is fantastic. He does not give up the home run. He sits at 50% fly ball rate, but a lot of these are weak fly balls. He does sport 5 different pitches, and his fastball sits at 93. He's got a nice cutter, curve, and changeup. I'd like to see more swings and misses. His swinging strike rate is at 9%, but I don't think he's quite hit his stride yet. And as we're getting into the hotter months here in July, there are guys on the Orioles that have been serviceable fantasy guys, and I think this is a guy just to keep on your radar just to see how it trends. He does have some good matchups as well coming up. He has Texas, he has the Pirates, Angels are here and there, the Rays are here and there, but I'd really like to see what he does in his next start against Texas coming up.
Yeah, moving the fences has changed things, and the Orioles have been playing their asses off, guys. I haven't checked the standings since about a week ago, but they were only 5 games under 500 at a certain point in this week. 35-40, Deary, in the toughest division in baseball. AL East is the toughest division. The Red Sox, the Rays, the Jays, and the Yankees. That's killer. And look at this team hang, man. It's amazing. I love it. The Orioles have been such a bummer for so long that to see them compete and bring up the fun talent they've got with Adley Rutschman and then all these no-name bozo pitchers. I mean, DL Hall is still sitting down there. We're all waiting for him to come up. And Grayson Rodriguez, of course, the unfortunate injury, he's gone. So don't know, man. I like what you're saying there. Yeah, the 35-42 as of today. 7
Would
games
you
over
rather?
500.
Would you rather have the Orioles squad or the Tigers squad moving forward?
Let's see. Ryan Mountcastle, Jorge Mateo, Ramon Urias, Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, and Santander, Trey Mancini, Adley Rutschman, of course. And then their bullpen's been really good years, too. I mean, we talk about these starters, but the bullpen's been one of the biggest assets for them. And the starters are who they are. I think it's coming into the season, Deary, pitching-wise, you would have said
Go Tigers
all day over the Orioles. But now it's switched so much with all the injuries they've had. And the hitting, the Orioles have taken the lead on the Tigers with their quality mix of a few veterans, some guys coming into that middle career status and still growing and just starting. I like the Orioles more.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan Mountcastle's been really nice over the last couple of weeks. I actually did just trade him the other day, but he's had a really nice couple of weeks, and he's boosted his average up to 275. He's got 39 RBIs, 13 home runs. So, he's starting to trend upward, which is really good because a lot of people were off him. I like Ryan Mountcastle. I don't think he's an elite outfielder, but I think he's a serviceable player. I did just trade him for Bregman straight up, and it was a straight OPS play for me because the one issue with Mountcastle is he doesn't walk a ton and get on base a lot. He's got an OBP of 313, and I talked about it last week. Bregman, starting to catch fire, which he has been.
Nobody's expecting much out of you.
So you got Bregman for Mountcastle is what you're telling me.
Yes, straight up. OPS
That's
league
a great trade, dude.
As well. So it was offered to me. I immediately said yes.
Yeah, that's a great move. Good job. I like that. See? You either get smoked or you smoke him. And you smoked him, dude.
You either smoke or you get smoked. And you got smoked.
That's right. That's a great trade. You are not a false prophet.
I am a false prophet.
Okay, shut up. Chad says, oh, wait, this is a two-parter. Sorry. I'm so mad I was in first on Kramer in my league because of the industry hype with his initial call-up, and then he flamed out, and he ended up snatched by someone else before the latest call-up, and I'm just kicking myself because the stuff has real potential. Sounds like he agrees with you, Deary. In conclusion, Chad says, and Govier, the Gallo comp for Morel, he was comping Gallo for Morel in the live chat here, was that Gallo is the only player I can think of that had a profile of that he could strike out 300 times and it doesn't matter. See, but that's never been the case with Gallo for me. He can strike out 300 times and it absolutely matters. It's a problem. So I've never liked Gallo. I know he's won a Gold Glove as a defender. That's great news. But in fantasy, Gallo sucks. He always did. I never bought into it. No disrespect to you, Chad. I see what you're saying with Morel and Gallo. That's a fun comp in the sense of that specific arena of the K's not mattering, but we're going to come up with a better comp for Morel. We'll think on this. I think we could do better.
The Gallo thing has always been, okay, if you're in an OBP league, he's going to have much more value than anywhere else. But Jesus Christ, this guy's striking out nearly 40% of the time. So it's like, he's got 9 home runs. Like, he hit 38 last year. Still struck out 34% of the time. He's a true, 3 outcome guy. Strikeout, home run, walk. But he only has a 13% walk rate. He had 18% last year, and he batted 199. He's batting 165 right now. I can't go anywhere near Gallo every single year and be like, Gallo. You can hit 40 home runs. You can maybe steal a couple bags, have a high walk rate. And it's just like, the peaks and valleys with him, there's just so many more valleys that I just don't want to screw around with Joey Gallo.
Yeah. I'm with you all the way on that. All right, a couple more. We'll get the hell out of here because we've been on the show forever. Finally, for me, I'm going to give you 2 names. So first is Dalton Varsho. He had a 32 WRC plus for the month of June. That is bad. Remember, 100 is average. 100.
32.
Yeah, 100 is average. That's so bad. So there's no way Dalton Varsho's this bad.
No.
And I know this is totally, completely not allowed. This isn't how things work, but he did have a really good July last year. He broke out with the power surge for the first time last July. So I'm combining these two things. He sucked in June. He had a pretty good July last year. Dalton Varsho is talented. He plays every day. He leads off. I mean, the guy. That's the other thing, too. The plate appearances are there for you, so it's got to get better from here. He did hit a home run Sunday, drove in several runs. That was promising. It's coming. It's coming. Stick with it. Dalton Varsho's the man. And then the other guy is Joey Votto. I know that he is old, and people are like, oh, Joey Votto.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, wow, dude. Joey Votto. It could be frustrating to roster him at times, but he's still been mashing the ball, and it hasn't changed. And July is going to be a good month for him. Again, this is a guy, remember what he did last year? He took some leagues by storm. In fact, he won some leagues last year after he came back off the IL in June with that injury. He exploded. He had a huge, huge run of power that people just didn't buy. And I remember I had a shit team in my home league last year. It was awful because I had Trout and Acuna. They got injured, and it killed my season. And I had Votto, though, and nobody would trade for him at the deadline. I'm like, you guys are missing out. This guy's going to help you win a league. And I think some people made a mistake doing that. So give me Joey Votto. He still mashes, and he had a 121 WRC plus last month, which is solid. But it's just going to get better this month. There's going to be more power because that hard hit rate is going to start to come through, and you're going to see more production in July than you did in June. Joey Votto, old man time, doing his thing.
Yeah, I like those. I like Varsho maybe a little bit more. I'd really like to see more stolen bases. Varsho has not stolen a base in a really long time. He's only sitting at 4. He's a guy that I scooped up in several of my drafts to end up throwing in the outfield because I got a couple other pitchers or catchers on my team. So, I had the option of outfield, catcher, and I've been playing him in the outfield, and he just hasn't been able to get stolen bases. But I think that the heat up is coming soon. Well, he's a really good player. Like you said, he's been leading off, hit a home run the other night. He's still on pace to hit 25 home runs.
Yeah, that's true. The steals I'm a little concerned about. I am concerned about that. I'll say that on the record. But the other production, I'm not. Real quickly, Chad says, that's why I prefer Gallo in Texas versus New York. Once he broke his helmet bone, he's never been the same. That's an interesting take. For sure. Deadline 63. What's up, Deadline 63? Welcome to the show. I think you're a newcomer. Like Mark Reynolds for a few years. Complete all or nothing, with nothing being a K. Yeah, Mark Reynolds was the master of that. Just he'd hit 34 home runs, and it would just be total trash otherwise. And yeah, that's what you get, especially when he was at Coors.
Who's the other guy we're thinking of that was the legend of doing this? Left-handed bat, White Sox.
Oh, Adam Dunn?
Adam Dunn.
Oh, yeah. He was. He was the original. Although the true original was Dave Kingman back in like the 70s and 80s. He was the original. So, yeah. All right, Deary, what do you got left? Finish it off here for us.
That's all I got.
Okay, great, cool. Yeah. I have a ton more names, but that's right. I'm gonna be a stinker here. I'm gonna pull one on you. It's on the Patreon. Sorry, you can't see it. I gave you enough. There's like 15 more names in that article. I'm an idiot. I stayed up to like 5 a.m. and I was already super tired. It's so stupid. And I wrote like 25 names in this June Swoon equals Hot Soon article, which you can get on the Patreon. Starts for as little as $3 if you want to get involved in that. That's where it begins. You can find that on the Twitter feed. It's all pinned at the top of our Palazzo Podcast Twitter feed. 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Give me 2.
That's how it works. And that's the show. We've done a hell of a job. We've given you something to munch on here as you head into the weekend. It's a holiday weekend. America. Freedom. Think of Mel Gibson. Yeah, right there. Think of Deary's intense face there. Screenshot that, someone. If you can, go back and screenshot that. Yeah. He's C. Deary 1999 on Twitter. Deary is in Dearly Beloved. I'm MJ Govier. G-O-V is in Victor. I-E-R. Discord's free. A lot of action in the Discord. When we're not on the air, it's basically like being in the show. It really is. And we got some new channels. We got the Russell Crowe channel. It's been around for a while. We also got the new Heat channel. Talk about the movie Heat in a channel. And you can also talk about the Miami Heat if you want. That has happened already as well. And we want to thank you guys for all the, Dave Kingman. That's right. Yeah. Booyah, Just Bob. You love the Dave Kingman reference? Oh, Deary, I worry about Varsho's playing time, says Chad. Where is the route there where he loses playing time? Because everyone, if I look at the roster real quick, I don't see somebody who would be, you going to call up Corbin Carroll from AA? He's been killing it, by the way. Corbin Carroll is a number 1 dynasty stud that you should have everywhere. But if you look who's on the injured list, Deary, nobody of really note. It would have to be somebody called up. And if anything, the D-backs are going to be sellers, Deary, right? They're going to trade away players. So I don't think Varsho's going to lose playing time at all.
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, how often has Varsho caught this year? Has he caught any games this year?
Well, since Carson Kelly's been back, that's what you really want. He definitely was catching. He was catching a fair amount before Carson Kelly's trash. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not very nice. Come on, he's been heating up, man.
Yeah.
You haven't
sure.
No, look.
What about Buddy Kennedy?
Buddy Kennedy. He's a real
just the best name ever.
Is he from an 80s movie?
My buddy.
Actually, Carson Kelly's been sitting a bit more lately, but he did hit a home run against Detroit last weekend. That was fun. He drove in 2 runs, and then he drove in 2 runs against San Diego 2 days later. Okay, whatever. He's in the starting lineup tonight. Carson Kelly's at Coors, guys, and I would strongly recommend you using Carson Kelly at Coors.
I mean, what are the Diamondbacks going to do? Be like, okay, we have a logjam in the outfield. We still prefer 33-year-old David Peralta over Varsho. Like,
here's what he's saying. Stone Garrett. Is this real? Stone Garrett and Dom Fletcher are both having monster seasons at AAA, and we'll get a shot.
Weren't they a tandem in the Fast and the Furious movie?
Stone Garrett and Dom Fletcher, they were. Yeah, that's right, they were. I forgot about that. Fast cars. That's right. Wow. I didn't know that.
These are great names. I'm going to look into these guys more. Thanks.
Okay, Chad, look. We'll look into Stone Garrett and Dom Fletcher. They're having monster seasons, but I don't think Varsho's still been a big part of their plans. They're either going to trade Varsho if he's not a part of their plans because they see him as a trade piece, or they're going to let him play it out, even if these guys come into the fold. That's my opinion on this. But let's all remember this. If you get it right, then we're going to give you full credit. Bubba says, thanks, guys. You rock. Have a great 4th. You too, Bubba. It's been great talking with you. Just Bob says 99 hits, 99 RBIs, 200 strikeouts. Dave Kingman. Yep, that was a legend. Take it easy, all. Enjoy the weekend. Deadline 63. Good to have you here. Good to know you. Be part of the show. Connect with us. Great show, guys. Have a great and safe 4th of July. You too, Just Bob. For Christopher Deary, I'm Michael Govier. We appreciate all you guys. Have a wonderful time. Don't blow your hands off. Please, nobody lose any fingers or digits with fireworks. Fireworks are stupid and lame and completely unnecessary.
Dumb.
That's the show policy. Yeah.
I hate fireworks.
Russell Crowe also hates fireworks. And here he is. Bye-bye.
Right, lads. Now, I know there's not a faint heart among you. And I know you're as anxious as I am to get into close action. But we must bring him right up beside us before we spring this trap. That will test our nerve. And discipline will count just as much as courage. The Acheron is a tough nut to crack. More than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers. And they will sell their lives dearly. They mean to take us as a prize. And we are worth more to them undamaged. Their greed will be their downfall. England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England. So it's every hand to his rope or gun, quick's the word and sharp's the action. After all, surprise is on our side.